I couldn't believe I was about to be assaulted as I was celebrating my fifth lottery win at the bar. Just as I was buying a round of shots to celebrate what was supposed to be a fun night out, it quickly turned into an absolute nightmare. Little did I know I was being followed by an angry gas station owner and his band of three pissed-off brothers. They waited until I walked outside and was by myself before pouncing on me, ready to beat the living daylights out of me. They trapped me in the corner and there was no way I was getting out. They told me they were on to me, that even though they didn't know exactly how, I had to have been doing something shady, that they just really couldn't believe there was any way for a person to win the lottery 5 times in a 3-month period, let alone from the same exact store. I tried to tell them that I wasn't doing anything illegal or cheating or violating any rules, that I just had an easy method I was using, and that it happened to work extraordinarily well. Hell, I even tried offering to share it with them, but none of them would give me the time of day or listen, and I was scared that I was about to die. And I completely hated thinking about what would have happened to me if a few strangers hadn't walked outside and saw me, causing the raging, crazed business owner and his 3 brothers to get distracted for a split second, giving me enough time to flee for my life. Barely making it to my car and burning rubber as I peeled out of the parking lot, headed towards the safety of my home. Up until that night, I'd been on such a rush, which produced winnings of more than $287,000 in the last 3 months just by playing the lotto and using a deceivingly easy system I'd created to predict winners. I'd finally been able to clear up all of my debts, some of which had been lingering over me for years. I'd taken my family to Honolulu for 2 weeks, where we stayed in the Hyatt Presidential Suite, living like royalty as we enjoyed daily activities including snorkeling, swimming with dolphins, and the Hawaiian Waters Adventure Park. I was able to buy my 2 kids all the clothes they'd been wanting for years, new running shoes, the latest video games, the latest toys, everything. I even just closed the deal on my dream house, a beautiful colonial-style house in a quiet and safe neighborhood in the best school district in the entire region. But having my life threatened and the thought of not knowing if I would ever make it out alive that day sure put me back to reality quickly. I came to the conclusion that if I was going to keep using this revolutionary system I developed and keep building long-term wealth by putting more and more money in the bank with it, I needed to start being a lot more cautious. Because here's the reality. Once you know how to crack the lotto code, which is what I'm going to share with you in this short presentation, there are going to be tons of people who aren't going to be happy about it. As you hold winning ticket after winning ticket for months at a time, you'll have to start rotating the gas stations where you buy your tickets, because the owners hate having to pay out cash from their registers. And even when you win the bigger prizes, $5,000, $15,000, maybe even $150,000 or so, these store managers and owners still won't be pleased. They become terrified the state will start monitoring them and trying to figure out what makes their store so special. Yet, here's the thing. It has nothing to do with their store, and everything to do with how you're picking your numbers. That's the secret to how I've been successful winning the lottery 5 times in the last 3 months, and 16 times in the last 2 years. These winners weren't all major jackpots, by the way. Some of the tickets were just for $6,000 or $13,000. Not enough to make you wealthy, but definitely enough to make your life a whole lot more comfortable. And it's the same secret a few other lucky people have used to do the same thing once I shared it with them. People like Kevin R., Chicago, Illinois, who recently wrote me saying, "Dustin, I'm just writing you quickly to thank you for completely changing my life. This month I've already hit the lotto 4 times for $5,400, $14,600, $117,858, and $26,378 respectively. Some months aren't quite as good as this, but I've been averaging around $21,000 per month, and it's all thanks to your system. I'm still in shock how easy your system is to use. Even a kindergartner could use it. I'm also extremely happy you're limiting the number of people you're going to share this info with, because if you shared it with everyone, I think the lottery would go out of business. And Daniel B. of Sarasota, Florida, who says, I truly can't believe it. 5 wins of $3,000 or more over the last 3 months. If you told me a few months ago that I'd be winning like this, I wouldn't have believed it for a second. But the way your formula is so simple to use and so precise, now I know that me and my family will never have to worry about money again. By the way, I'm attaching a picture of me holding a check for my most recent win so you can see proof of my success. And Ahmed H. of Sherman Oaks, California, who says, when my brother-in-law shared your website with me, I thought he was crazy. There's no strategy to beat the lottery, I told him. You're out of your mind. But after watching him hit his second jackpot in 4 months for a total of more than $283,000 in winnings, I began to think maybe he wasn't so crazy after all. So I gave this a try, and thank God I did. I just hit my first jackpot for $39,487, and it's only been less than a month. I can't wait to keep on winning. Now, as a professionally skilled mathematician, if you'd asked me just a few years ago if there was some secret to winning the lottery consistently, or to really know in advance to what the winning numbers were going to be, I would have more than likely laughed in your face and called you an idiot. I mean, I did know that to some extent the games all had to be beatable because they'd been created by humans, and as a result it was impossible for them to be perfect. But if winning the lottery, not just one time, but even many times was so simple, then we'd all be millionaires, correct? There's no way in hell of that, I thought, and until just a few years ago, I'd never even purchased a lottery ticket in my life. But all that changed in March of 2012. The Powerball jackpot just hit $340 million, and as the night of the drawing arrived, and it appeared that that's all anyone on the news or at work was talking about. Now, I did have job security, but it didn't pay much, and I was also piled high in debt, something that always seemed to be weighing my family down and stopping us from getting ahead in life. And I almost always felt like I was just barely getting by. I definitely was never in a position to purchase or even drive an elaborate sports car, or to live in a wonderful home where I felt like my family would be both comfortable and safe. And there were many months I was uncertain about where the money would come from to pay for my kids' school supplies, or to put 3 healthy meals on the table. My wife was working 2 jobs. It was making her tired, and she promises, even triggering her to age faster than the average person. I mean, we weren't extremely broke, but we were struggling. And of course, like so many other Americans, I was tired of it. So I decided, what the hell, and I went and spent $20 at the local gas station to buy 10 tickets. Well, you're going to find this pretty funny, but out of the 10 tickets I purchased, I picked a total of only 1 number right. I just flushed $20 down the toilet, I thought to myself, as I turned on the TV to see the news people interviewing the lady who'd won. An elderly woman from South Florida, crying with happiness and telling everyone all the magnificent things she intended to do with her newfound wealth. After that, it was back to the old routine, working extremely hard for barely any money, hardly ever seeing my wife because of her busting her butt working 2 jobs, trying to give my children a normal life, even though their parents were always either at work or very tired. But even though I didn't win, there was something that kept really irritating me. Why is it that there are a few people who have won the lottery numerous times, while the majority of us never seem to ever win. I mean, I don't know about you, but it always seemed like I was hearing stories about these unbelievably lucky people who'd hit their second, third, fourth, or even eighth ticket. The headlines were everywhere. The Texas Lottery never investigated Joan Ginther, who won $5.4 million in a 1993 Lotto Texas drawing, then hit it big in 3 scratch-off games. $2 million in Holiday Millionaire in 2006, $3 million in Millions and Millions in 2008, and $10 million in $140 million extreme payoff in 2010. A lucky man from Airdrie, Alberta wins Lotto for $17 million. Court orders Western Canada Lottery Corp to pay this multiple winner. He wins $1 million, $100,000, $50,000, and $1.3 million. Northwest Territory woman wins Lotto Millions for a second time, who is now more than $7 million richer after her second lottery winner in 4 years. Man wins $3 million in 2013, then last year wins another jackpot of $10 million. Play 4 champ, 568 winners in 15 months. Panama City Beach man defies the odds, wins Florida Lotto 2 times in 6 months. Lucky Carthage man becomes an instant millionaire again, and it seemed very odd to me that this was going on, that there was just this small group of people from all over the world who were really, really lucky. I looked at the likelihood of all this, by the way, and I saw that for any pick-six type game, the odds of winning were around 1 in 13,983,816. Clearly, those aren't the best odds, but they just made me even more curious about what these multiple winners were doing that I wasn't. I mean, did they have some kind of lotto winning secret? Did they know something that the rest of us didn't? I just needed to know. It was causing me to have insomnia at night, and so over the next 6 months I did something pretty wild. I played detective and was able to find out these multiple winners' phone numbers. Then I started picking up the phone and calling them all. At first, many of these individuals were pretty secretive. After all, once you've won hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in the lottery, many people want to be your friend, but they may not have all the best intents. That's actually something very important, and you're going to need to remember, because after I show you how my winning number system works, and you start winning a hefty payout pretty much every month, $4,500 or so here, $7,000 there, $14,000 or so there, and on and on and on, you're going to have tons of friends, family, neighbors, and even complete strangers trying to ask you for money, particularly if you aren't watchful and don't stay under the radar. So, please, make sure you're smart about your winnings. Well, anyways, as it turned out, most of these multiple-time winners were actually pretty respectable people. And after I gave the details to them about who I was, and that I was just curious because I was a mathematician, but that I wasn't after their freshly earned wealth, most of them had no problem at all letting the cat out of the bag and allowing me to write down what their secret was. It was truly fascinating. Of the 35 different multi-winners I spoke to, 32 of them had a personal formula or method that they swore was the key to hitting 4, 5, even 6 numbers on a draw over and over. What was also really interesting was that while none of these individuals were using the same exact method, the more I looked at my notes and studied each formula or system they'd shared with me, the more I started to realize that they all had some important resemblances in common. Well, being a mathematician and completely obsessed with math, I started crunching numbers like you wouldn't believe. I took their different formulas and played around with them, combining the vital components of each and adding a couple extra principles of probability that I knew should increase the odds of predicting a winner even more. I became hooked on studying the winning drawings for all the different major lotteries each night to see if the formula I was working extremely hard on was showing any potential. For what felt like a long time, about a little over a year, I would say, I had nothing to show for all my hard work. And then it suddenly happened. I was on the 163rd variation of the formula, and I just used it to try to calculate the winning numbers for the latest Cash 5 drawing. Like clockwork, I went online to check what the actual winning numbers were, but what I saw made my jaw drop almost to the floor. The system I'd been slaving over had accurately predicted every single number, all 5 of them. Well, at first I was pretty upset. If I'd actually purchased a ticket using my numbers, I would have won $218,344. That felt horrible, and I started beating myself up for being stupid until it dawned on me. The formula I'd been constructing and perfecting for nearly 2 years appeared to have worked. Of course, it could have been a coincidence, so I had to keep trying it. But you better believe I didn't just stand on the sidelines and watch any longer. Instead, I took around $50 and purchased tickets to several different popular lotto games like Mega Millions, Powerball, Cash 5, etc. And sure enough, 3 days later, boom, there it was. I was holding a $5,000 winner right in my hand. And another week after that, boom, there it was again. I'd hit 4 numbers plus the Powerball for a prize of $10,000, and another 2 weeks after that, I really hit it large when I locked in another Cash 5 ticket worth almost $185,000. Luckily, I'd actually purchased the ticket this time. It was amazing. I couldn't believe what was happening, and it all felt like a dream. Until I drove down to the state lottery office, collected my checks, and put them in the bank. You probably don't need to be told how great that felt, to all of a sudden not have to worry about money anymore, to be able to pay off your debts, to purchase a Lexus for your wife, or a Ferrari for yourself, or a BMW for your kid, or really any car you've ever imagined getting. To see the expressions on the guys at the dealership's faces when they ask to run a credit check on you and you say, "No, I'll just go ahead and pay cash." Or to be idolized by your entire family, to quickly make more money in a couple of months of playing the lotto than you'd earned in the last 5 years of working 40, 50, 60, or even 80 hours per week. Well, over the next couple of months, I kept using my formula and I won 2 more times. No, I wasn't making millions and millions of dollars, but I was nailing prizes worth anywhere from a couple thousand to a few $100,000, and that was just fine by me. The lottery office started to look at me very strangely as I made the trip to see them just about every other week. I think half of them were smiling and the other half worried, but they couldn't do anything about it. They knew, just like you do, that it's impossible to cheat the lotto, and I wasn't doing anything dishonest or immoral. I had simply taken the basic components in each of the 32 multi-time winners' formulas, learned what seemed to be so special about them, adjusted them using some additional probability theory, and turned them into a plug-and-play lottery-winning system. I've nicknamed it the Lotto Decimator system. You'll finally start winning lotteries and be able to accomplish anything you want in life. It's something that anyone can do. Even if you have problems with simple math, it doesn't matter because it's so easy. You simply track the winning numbers for your favorite games, plug them into my tiny formula, and discover what numbers have the highest chance of winning the next time there's a drawing. That's exactly what Peter B. of Milwaukee, Wisconsin did. Wow, Dustin, this is so incredible. Even though this is my 6th time winning in the last 2 months, I still get surprised by how simple your formula is to use. Really, you're not lying when you say it does all of the work for you. I just plug the winning numbers in using the formula you provide, and it gives me winners. I can't thank you enough. And Frank T. of Youngstown, Ohio, who says, check out this picture I've included. Like what you see? That's my new Bentley. Oh, and see the one next to it, the Ferrari? Well, that one is for my wife. She likes to call it her new toy. But anyways, I'm sending these pictures because your Lotto Decimator system is the thing that made this all possible. When I hit $392,827 in the Powerball 3 months ago, using your formula, my life completely changed. It's absolutely crazy I keep winning. Well, now it's just getting silly. I can't thank you enough for putting this formula into my hands. Now, it's essential to understand you're not going to win every time. You may also not win the Powerball jackpot next week. Sorry to say, but that's just being truthful. However, if you're fine with winning $3,800, $14,600, $35,000, etc., on the tickets you buy on a pretty frequent basis, and also once in a while hitting a smaller-sized jackpot that's worth between $200,000 and $3 million or so, doing it over the course of about every 3 to 6 months, then the Lotto Decimator system I've created will work perfectly for you. All right, so you're probably pretty anxious to know how my secret formula works, and I'll give you all the details right now. 1. Start writing down the previous winning numbers for each of the games you want to play. I personally recommend you get a fresh legal pad that you use solely for this purpose. If you don't already have one, you can quickly buy one from Walmart, Office Depot, or Dollar General for less than $1. 2. Once you have the winning numbers for at least 7 previous drawings, you can look these up online in just a few minutes, you plug them into the simple formula I teach you inside the Lotto Decimator system. This formula is based on lots of complex mathematics, but I've done all the hard work for you so that you just basically need to add and divide a couple of numbers. Use a calculator if you choose to, but even most 7-year-olds will be able to do this mentally without any issues. 3. Go purchase your tickets based on the winning numbers my formula gives you. Practically every single lottery game in the world is based on the same mathematical values, which means that the formula you'll be getting works for all of them. So, play as many games as you want, but don't spend more than $20 or $25 because there's no reason to. 4. You may find out that you've won only a small prize of a few $1,000s or so the first time. Or you may not win the first time at all. Either way, don't get discouraged. The numbers don't lie, and it will only be a short matter of time before you're going to hit. 5. As a good rule of thumb, you should focus on winning once or twice per month for a payout of around $15,000 to $20,000. Some months you may only win $10,000, and other months you may hit numerous winners or a jackpot and find yourself cashing a check for $200,000. Winning a jackpot is an unbelievable feeling, but I think it's important to set realistic expectations, which is why I say to go for $15,000 to $20,000 per month or so. 6. Keep repeating for as long as you want. This can become your full-time job if you want it to, and you'll be astonished at the long-term stability. All lotto games in the world have the same principles, so this will always work for you, even if a certain game is no longer available or a new one is released. And that's really it. Although, like I stated before, I highly recommend that you try to stay under the radar. Go to different gas stations so you don't anger the owner and get threatened like I did. It's probably in your best interest to hire a financial planner and an accountant after your first couple of wins. While sometimes they can sort of be the fun killer, they'll really help you make sure that you're investing your hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars wisely so you can turn the cash you win into even more money. Oh yeah, and also, you might want to donate some of the money you make to a charity or a good cause. Not right away, because you'll probably be more focused on making large cash payments to settle any debts you may have, or buying your new house, or getting your spouse a new Lexus like I did, or taking your children on vacation. But once you've won your 4th, 5th, 12th, or maybe even 20th time over a few-year period, I think it's really important to stay humble and to give a little back to some well-deserving charity. One of the most valuable lessons I learned after being extremely wealthy now is to give back and to help other people who are less fortunate. After you reach a certain amount in the bank and you have everything you've been longing for, the money in the bank account would just be a number. Believe me, giving back will provide more pleasure than having all the money in the world. Okay, so by now you're probably wondering how you can get your hands on the Lotto Decimator system. Well, I've had so many friends and family members ask me that exact same question, and for a while I was pondering over what the best way to share this information would be. Eventually, what I decided to do was take my formula, along with some other essential tips and pieces of inside info I've collected over the years, and put them into an online guide that anyone could read and download directly from their computers, tablets, or smartphones, or even print out as many copies as they want. I think that by giving you the access to the same formula I've used to hit several pretty major winning tickets over the past few years, it can be kind of like my version of giving back, which, as I just mentioned, is extremely important to me. Plus, I remember how horrific it is to feel like you're financially struggling, like you're always getting endless bills, like there's just always some unpredicted expense popping up that makes you ask, where are we going to find the money for this? I'm not trying to say this is you, because honestly, I don't know. But what I am saying is, I remember how much it pained me to always say no to my kids when they tried to put a $5 box of their favorite fruit snacks in the cart while we were grocery shopping, or they brought a $10 new toy up to the checkout line, and I really couldn't jeopardize buying it for them and not being able to pay our electric bill. And I love that feeling of financial security I now experience every day. I love that new car smell that all of my luxury vehicles have. And I love that each of my kids' college funds now have $50,000 in them, cash that's 100% safe, and that will give them an incredible head start for the rest of their lives. The Lotto Decimator system is only available here on this website, and I can't let too many people know it exists because, while I do want to give back, if everyone had access to this incredibly easy but proven formula, well, it could seriously shut down the entire lottery system in the U.S., and then no one would win. Up until now, I've had it priced here for $300. That may sound like a lot of money, but if you're winning even just $3,000 in your first month, which is a lot less than almost everyone else who's used this system and won, then you can see why $300 is a pretty small investment. But like I said, I had it priced at $300. That was in the beginning. But today I'm going to do something a little bit crazy. You see, I'm limiting the number of copies of the Lotto Decimator system to a total of 200. After that, this website comes down, and no one else can get it because, like I talked about before, we can't have too many winners here. Well, 138 people have already gotten their hands on this guide, accessed it instantly online, and use it to win anywhere from tens of thousands to even a few $1,000,000 in the past 6 months. And I'm really starting to get worried that the lottery corporations are going to come after me for sharing this with people, even though it's 100% legal and doesn't do anything wrong. Which is why I've decided to cut the price of the Lotto Decimator system even more, so that you don't have to pay $300 for immediate access to the life-altering information that's inside, and make it available to you today for just $97. You can get it now by clicking that Add to Cart button you see below this screen here. But if you do want to beat the lottery and start winning on a full-time basis, it's very important you act right now. Many hard-working and deserving people without much money have been pleading with me for months to give away my system like I'm doing right now. And I can promise you that these final 62 copies are going to go quickly. That's good for me, because the faster we reach 200, the faster I can take this offer down and protect myself. But it does mean you need to make a decision now. Oh, and the one last thing I should tell you. Over the last 6 months, as I've been talking to some of the few hundred people who are using the Lotto Decimator system to make a 6-figure income off of about $25 or $35 per week in tickets, they've been telling me that there are some other websites on the internet that also talk about winning the lottery. It's pretty disgraceful, but they've been saying that many of these sites are ran by people who have no clue what they're talking about. Well, you just listened to my story and saw with your very own eyes proof that the results I've gotten are 100% genuine, and that the repeat winnings of the people I've helped so far are 100% genuine. But because I know being trustworthy is huge, I'm also going to take this one step further and offer you a 100% money-back guarantee that's good for a full 60 days. Here's how it works. You simply click the Add to Cart button that you see below this presentation now. Once you do that and enter your information through the secure checkout page I've set up, you'll be taken to a special VIP members-only area where you get immediate access to the Lotto Decimator system. You can view the tips, the advice, and of course, the winning predictive formula right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. You can download it. You can print out as many copies as you want, whatever you choose to do, and then just follow the exact steps I tell you inside. Try out the system for a full 60 days with absolutely zero risk. I already know you're going to get some enormous wins here, but I also know that seeing is believing, which is why I want you to experience the power of holding winner after winner for yourself. So, if for any reason whatsoever you're not completely satisfied with your decision over the next 60 days, or if you're only averaging $5,000 per month and you wanted to be making more, simply send an email to the address I'll provide you inside the VIP members-only area, and I'll instantly refund your $97 with absolutely zero questions asked. So, really, what possibly do you have to lose? You're basically just saying maybe to a lottery prediction system that's already helped 138 other people just like you to make an average of 6 figures in the last 6 months. And if you change your mind, that's perfectly okay. I'm not bothered by it, and you get your investment returned immediately. I honestly don't think that's going to happen, though, because the Lotto Decimator system has been proven to work time and time again. It takes the best components of some of the most successful repeat Lotto winners systems and combines them into a formula that's more potent than any one of their single systems by themselves. So, go ahead and try it out for yourself now by clicking the Add to Cart button right below. But remember, there are just 62 copies left of this, and once we hit that maximum number of 200, this website will be taken down for good. Really. The decision is yours, but can you really see for any reason not to change your life today? If not, then go ahead and act now, and you'll have access to the complete system in about 2 minutes from now. It's that simple. To a life full of prosperity and joy, Dustin Bowers, Newport Beach, California. Are you still here? That's perfectly fine. I understand you might still have some questions, and I'll do my best to answer them right here, so that you can feel 100% happy with your small investment today. 1. Isn't the lottery entirely random? Not at all. This is where many people get confused. The lottery isn't completely random. Instead, it's a game created by humans, which means that at the end of the day, it has to be winnable. That's why you sometimes hear about individuals finding flaws in the lotto and making a boatload of money as a result. Just a few years ago, a group of MIT students did just that and won $8 million. They got in trouble, but they weren't even doing anything immoral. They just found a loophole. There are actually many stories just like this, but it's very important to always remember that what I'm showing you is 100% legal and ethical and not being dishonest at all. It may feel kind of bizarre when you win so often, but you're doing nothing wrong. 2. How did you create the Lotto Decimator system again? What I did was analyze 32 of the secret formulas from repeat Lotto winners. I studied each of those formulas and realized they all shared some pretty close similarities. So then, I took the basic components of each of these 32 systems, joined them with some advanced mathematical probability theory, and designed my own formula. It took me over an entire year to perfect this, and I actually tried 163 unique variations before I finally found the one that worked. 3. How do I use the Lotto Decimator system to win the lotto multiple times? First, you track the winning numbers for the games you want to play. These can be found online, so you can get an excellent sample size pretty fast. Then, you simply input those numbers into the formula you get inside the Lotto Decimator system, and it predicts a new set of winning numbers. You're not going to win the lottery every single time, but this is all about probability theory. By using this formula, you significantly increase your chances of winning from improbable to extremely great. 4. How much money can I expect to win using the Lotto Decimator system? I like to tell people to expect an average of about $15,000 to $20,000 monthly. There are some months where you won't win that much, and other months where you'll win much more. Mostly, you'll be focusing on 2 pretty good-sized wins per month. One thing that's really neat about this system is that you typically don't just get 1 or 2 numbers correct. It predicts between 4 and 6, which means the prizes you'll win are likely to be much higher than just a couple $100. 5. What are the terms of the guarantee again? This one's really easy. You get the Lotto Decimator system for yourself right now by clicking the Add to Cart button that you see at the bottom of the screen. Then, use the system for a full 60 days and see just how much money it will make you. If for any reason whatsoever you change your mind about it, just send me an email and I'll immediately refund your investment with no questions asked. You have a full 60 days. 6. How much time do I have to purchase your system? Not long at all. Like I said earlier, I've limited the number of people who can access this to 200. At the time of recording this, 138 people have already benefited from this system and got the Lotto Decimator system for themselves, and usually 5 to 10 more people get it each day, now that it's at such a crazy, unbelievable discounted price. 7. How do I get the Lotto Decimator system? Easy. Click the Add to Cart button that you see below. You'll then receive instant access to my guide, my formula, my winning tips, everything you need to start nailing big tickets for huge payouts. It's that easy.